Best in Blue.
Connecting you, the listener, to the everyday inner workings of the Memphis Police Department.
Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
You're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I am DC, the host of this program, sitting alongside my co-host, Leah Roma. Hello, Leah.
Hey, DC.
How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It's hot. It's hot all over the country. That's
It's
all
so
I know.
hot.
It's hot.
What is supposed to be 100 degrees today?
It's 100 degrees everywhere. That's the shame about it. But anyway.
My car is sweating.
No, that's hot. That's really hot. Look, we have got a wonderful program scheduled. We're going to be talking about internet safety with our young people, right? And you know, the funny thing about that is that I've got these big kids now. One's 18, of course, and one's still 17, and they have such a space that they've created for themselves with these phones they got, you know? And so I'm like, man, I need to ask me some questions about these folks. What do they look? What's Snapchat? I don't have a clue what that is.
When your child is always connected, we need to know, how do you monitor online activity?
We're going to have Major Felecica Adams and Sergeant Milton Bonds of Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau. Internet safety with our young people, with our children, as well as our young adults, on Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Funky Politics, we're back. A brand new season, brand new shows, brand new guests. We're going to do it just right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
This is Sergeant Milton Bonds with the Memphis Police Department Sex Crimes, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and you're listening to the Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I am DC, host of the program. Sitting right here alongside me is my co-host, Leah Roma. Hi, Leah. How are you?
I'm doing fine, DC. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Good to be back on Best in Blue. And today, Leah, we've got two great professionals with the Memphis Police Department visiting with us. We've got Major Felecica Adams and Sergeant Milton Bonds of the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau. Welcome to Best in Blue. How are y'all?
We're good.
Good. I'm getting excited now. This is exciting. The hot weather's out here just for us now today.
We're great.
Great. I like that, Major. And we want to talk about your bureau. It's a mighty important bureau within the department, as all of them are. But yours touches lives, not only adults but also children. And today we want to talk a lot more about, I think one of the spaces that you all cover is internet safety. But now, first of all, tell us a little bit about the bureau in which you manage right now.
Okay. My Sex Crimes Bureau is part of the Memphis Police Department's Investigative Services Bureaus. We are comprised of about 5 units. We cover adult sex crimes, crimes against our children in our child abuse unit. We have internet crimes against children. I have the sex offender registry, and we also have what's referred to as our DNA unit.
Wow, that's a mighty nice sized unit you have right there. And as I've said before, now this bureau is comprised of not only your investigators or your detectives, but also you have patrol officers or other personnel that's afforded to you for your operations, correct?
I do. I have civilians and also have some patrol officers who operate in the capacity as investigators as well.
Okay. Sergeant Bonds, can you talk a little bit about the Internet Safety Task Force?
Of course. I'm part of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Our unit is assigned to the Sex Crimes Bureau. However, we do work on the task force, which is considered a state task force. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force is kind of a new unit to policing. It was created in response to internet safety with children. It was created by the Department of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Program. And we partner with other federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies to kind of police the internet concerning child safety and child exploitation.
What kind of social media sites should parents be on the lookout for?
Well, that's one of the things that we talk to parents about. If it's something that you heard of, such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, those are some of the things that you want to be on the lookout for. However, there are multiple social media sites that kids are using these days. And a lot of times they're not going to use the traditional sites that we know of, because as parents, they want to keep things away from us sometimes. So they're going to use sites that we're not familiar with.
You know what? And you say that. I got an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old. And my daughter tells me, my son tells me all the time, Daddy, we don't do Facebook. That's for old people. And
Absolutely.
so, you know, I know that sounds weird, but now, well, they think I'm old, by the way, but that's okay. But now, I don't see a lot of young people, Leah. Do you? I mean, I think we all may have a little bit of dabbing into the Facebook life, but I don't see a lot of young people on Facebook anymore. So is that, Leah, following, I guess, on the question she asked, is Facebook now the out with young people and more of some of these other newer type of social media outlets, what they're going for now?
It is. Facebook is traditionally, of course, everyone knows Facebook was started for college students.
Sure.
And it's kind of transitioning to adults using Facebook. So a lot of teenagers and young kids, they get away from Facebook because they can be monitored too easy. So they don't use Facebook. They use other social media sites and internet service providers that we don't know about. We end up finding out about a lot of those social media sites through one of the partnering agencies that we kind of work with to police what's going on. So we do get that information from other sites.
If you find that someone has posted or sent your child an inappropriate picture, what does a parent do when you discover this? What should the first thing a parent do when they see this kind of stuff?
Well, one of the things we encourage everyone to do is, if you find something and you think that it's inappropriate, contact the police. Contact us and let us make that determination. Nothing is too small or nothing is too insignificant. Let us be the ones who determine if we need to investigate it or not.
Parents and children may think that if they post something, that there might not be a law or charge to protect them. What are some of the offenses and charges that could possibly be out there to protect parents and children?
You're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Well, when you say laws, what exactly are you referring to?
For example, if you get in your child's phone and you see that there's some inappropriate pictures that have been sent to the child, are there laws that can protect the child? Is that considered some sort of sexual offense, especially if they're a minor?
Well, one of the things, if you're in possession of child pornography, it is against the law. Mm-hmm. However, as investigators, we take a lot of things into account. The fact that you're finding this and you're reporting it to us, we look at that and we know that you're not trying to illegally possess child pornography. So, if we're going to talk to our prosecutors and we'll let everyone know what we think your intent was, and it's not a situation where if you find something and you're reporting it, you're going to be charged.
How do parents handle texting back and forth that's inappropriate when they find that on their child's phone?
Well, there's a couple things you need to do. One, you do need to have a conversation with your child just to find out what exactly is going on, and hopefully they'll share with you the intent. But also contact the police. Let us, as investigators, try to investigate and determine what exactly is going on. And we're going to do our best to just kind of find out what information we get and what exactly the intent of the conversation is.
Major, speaking of intent, that's where I want to go right there. I'm glad you said that, Sergeant Bonds. Intent. A 22-year-old young male text a 14-year-old, hey, I'd like to take you out. Those are the types of messages that begin a snowball, so to speak, right? And so if our parents are a little bit more aware of what they are getting in terms of not just the internet piece, but the texting and the emailing as well, too, right?
Correct.
Is that how we try to help stop some of this behavior that's on the road to happening?
Yeah. That is. We would like for our parents, that's why we talk about our parents, to be involved in what our children are doing online and on their mobile devices. Yes. It's important for them to monitor those things because we do, unfortunately, have children that will engage in conversations with individuals they may or may not know.
How can you monitor online history?
There is software that is available that will allow you to see the activities of your child.
Wow.
To be able to monitor those things.
Let me put a pin right there. Let me put a pin right there, guys. This is DC and with Leah, and we're visiting with Sergeant Milton Bonds and Major Felecica Adams of the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau, right here on Best in Blue. We'll be right back.
Artivism.
Artivism features conversations with artists, creatives, and citizens working at the intersection of art and social activism. And I'm Linda Steele, your host. I'm a grant maker, change maker, social venture capitalist, and I invest in individuals and projects that use the arts as a vehicle for social change.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN!
Hey, this is Colonel Sam Hines with MPD. You're listening to the Best in Blue, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We're back with you on Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, and I got Leah Robinson here next to me, and we are visiting with Major Felecica Adams and Sergeant Milton Bonds of the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau. Are we doing enough? Can we do more?
I think we can always do more.
Okay.
We can always do more. And one of the things that we can do is become knowledgeable about these things that are out here that can assist us with trying to make sure our kids are safe. Wow. Online. And this conversation like we're having here is one of those ways of learning some new information that'll allow you to keep your kids safe.
And I've got older children. Mine are 18 and 17, and I did not have this information. And I know my kids are on these other apps that are out there that stuff disappears, or they think disappears in a matter of moments. But I'd like to encourage all of our parents to make sure you take a much more active role in doing exactly what you're saying. It is monitoring your child's, not only what they do on the internet, but monitor them, period.
Correct.
When they leave the house,
correct.
Where are you going? Are you going to meet up with somebody you just met vis-a-vis the the internet or something like that, right?
Right. No, you try to make sure you know your kids' passwords on their devices and what have you. Wow. And it may even be helpful for you to actually obtain some of the same apps, just so you know how they operate. That way when the kids have conversations that you overhear, you actually know what they're talking about.
My daughter, and I threatened to get on Instagram. She said, "Don't get on Instagram, Dad." I'm like, "Why?" I mean, I don't. Of course, I'm not on it now. I don't know why, but anyway, Leah,
What age are kids getting cell phones and devices nowadays?
Oh, wow.
When they're born. I'm gonna get this phone to my kid. He needs all of this stuff on it right now.
You think about it, kids, it seems like they come into this world knowing how to operate mobile devices.
Sure.
I have a grandson who, when he was 3 years old, instead of asking for, toys or whatever, when he would come visit me, he wanted to use my iPad.
Wow.
And he could turn it on. He could actually go on the Apple site and download an app. He did that. So I say that to say at 3 years old. So the children now are a lot more tech savvy.
Yeah.
Which means we've got to become more tech savvy and become more familiar with those things to keep these kids safe.
Wow.
Keep our children safe.
Speaking of being tech savvy, Sergeant Bonds, are there monitoring softwares out there for parents to be able to use to monitor the online activity and history of their children?
Absolutely. Two things that we always get from parents in our investigation is, how can I monitor my child and know what's going on? So two things that we encourage is, one, always have the passwords and let your children know that, hey, I'm mom, dad, I'm going to do spot checks from time to time. Do them unannounced. Don't tell your kids when you're going to do it. Just get the phone. And if you can't get in there because of a password, then you need to have that discussion with your child. Mm-hmm. Also, there are tons of monitoring software which allow you to mirror your child's phone. We don't advocate any particular software, but just research and find out what's best for you. And you consider using some of that software where you could sit in the other room, or while you're at work, you can kind of look and see what your child is doing, so you'll be familiar with it.
Let me just ask you one quick question. First of all, you're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I want you to know that, first of all. But now, you're part of this major task force, and I know you all go to plenty of these sessions, these plenary sessions, where they're putting a lot of information in front of you. I know you don't advocate for one, but is there 2 or 3 out there that the public really should look at, or can we say that? That let's just say maybe, I don't know, I've heard Life 360 and so, and we're not selling time for them, but if there's something that really, really works that you have seen in the sessions that you've had across the country, that you've met all these other investigators, I think we ought to let people know that.
Well, there are so many, and like you said, when we do go to the ACAT conferences, they're marketing, trying to sell all their products.
Oh, I see.
For me, I'm a believer in doing the spot checking. So that's primarily what I do with my daughter because she's older.
Yeah.
But there, like I say, there are tons of
and
software.
Spot checking, you mean you just check her phone?
I get her phone.
Because I pay the bill.
That's my phone. and I make sure that I'm able to get inside that device. So she knows that my fingerprint has to be in that iPhone.
Wow.
And if it's not and I can't get into it, then we're going to reset it. We'll cut the phone off and you're not going to have access to it. And that's just the deal that we worked out with each other. So, and vice versa. She, I have her fingerprint in my cell phone.
Yeah.
Because I don't try to hide anything in my phone.
Well, I'm not going to give my kids my fingerprint. But anyway. Oh, my
Sergeant
dead body. But anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How do parental controls work?
Such as what?
For internet sites and search engines and maybe the browsing history, those sorts of things.
Well, there's always filters with all of the different apps and with devices. So you can go in and you can actually set filters for the device. So that's primarily what you do. When you go in, you want to make sure that they're not able to go to certain sites. You want to make sure there are age-appropriate filters set so that when they try to go in somewhere, if the filter is set, then it's going to block them from viewing that particular site.
I've heard of parents setting a time limit for their children being online. Do you guys feel that works?
Absolutely. I have it in my house. I go in and for each user, I set a time limit. So
is that right?
Absolutely.
Major? You do?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I don't have children that don't, but yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Well, but in today's society, though, there's this information highway out there. Mm-hmm. If you don't get it first, maybe you're missing something and your friend got it. I mean, and I'm talking about in terms of using it for studies. You know what I'm saying? You've got high school kids who've got to do intense stuff. We still do the old crazy term papers out there, right? So, and sometimes it takes you hours and hours on end to get those things done. And you got to have access to the web. But you still have got to have this piece out there where people are still your parents are still keeping up with it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's all I want to know.
You have to set boundaries, absolutely.
And I think that's boundaries. So, exactly. So if anything else we come away with on this monitoring piece, parents set boundaries, right?
Correct.
Wow, Leah, what do you think about that?
I think that's amazing. I never knew any of these things. These are the kinds of questions that I get asked. When we're giving tips on crime prevention when it comes to adults protecting themselves online, because a lot of people think when you put a picture out there that as long as you delete it, it's gone. Yeah. But then there's the whole screenshotting, and that sort of thing, and people sharing it before you take it down. And so it's just, it's real interesting to me. And speaking of screenshotting, there are a few sites out there that advertise that if you put a few pictures up, they disappear within 24 hours. Do you guys see a lot of cases like that, Sergeant Bonds?
We do, and it's important to make sure that everyone understands this. All internet service providers, they use software that looks at those pictures when you upload it to their server. So it's important to know that. So we have to be careful what we upload. If you upload something and it's inappropriate, that internet service provider, they're gonna catch it. And if it's inappropriate, they're gonna report it.
You're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I'm DC, got Leah Romer here sitting here with me, and we're visiting with the professionals. That's right, we got the professionals here today, folks. Major Adams and Sergeant Bonds with the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau.
Best in Blue.
Best in Blue.
Best in Blue.
That means we go to the schools, we go to the churches, we do all types of programs to try to build the relationship between law enforcement and the community.
Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN! Best in Blue.
Back with you here on Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I am DC, sitting here along with Leah Romer. I got to call her whole name, folks. Her whole government name is Leah Romer. We're visiting also with good friends of ours from the Memphis Police Department, Major Felecica Adams and Sergeant Milton Bonds of the Sex Crimes and Child Abuse Bureau. And we have been talking about safety tips with our young people when it comes to the internet. And Major Adams, we were talking a bit offline about that monitoring piece, that do's and don'ts of parents, and getting our parents so excited and so revved up to say, I can save my child from years of exposure to the net from something that's extremely negative. And how, even as a parent, you had to do some of these things, right?
Yes, as a parent, I did. I had to be mindful of the things that my kid was doing online. So I took those initiatives in order to make sure that. So what I did was, if my son was online, I monitored what he did while he was online, of course. And I also came to know the people that he was communicating with. And my son liked to play a lot of the games that are online.
Yeah.
So I had to watch that as well, because some of those devices as well allow people to chat with your children while they are playing
you're right
games.
About that.
So you had to be mindful of who they may be trying to have conversations with. I made sure I didn't give him some of the tools that went along with those games in order for him to communicate with people directly. But I stayed on top of that because he doesn't know. His thought was, well, I'm just playing with somebody online, and of course their interest is the game, but not always.
And it could be grooming. It could be that they're actually...
It actually could be grooming.
They're grooming. And, my son does the same thing. He's 17, but he loves these online... I don't know if they're a war game. It's some type of weird game. I look at it and I don't really pay... But I'm going to start paying a lot more attention to it because he's talking to folks. I'm like, who are you yelling at? I mean, they literally are... talking crazy, they're talking trash to each other.
Yeah, they're very serious.
These things are serious, right? And so, but he says it's his friend that goes to school with him. I'm like, oh, okay. So they're all, I guess, hooked into this one game, I guess, and they can play each other.
Right. Wow. And then you have to think about what your kid putting online in addition to that. When they engage them in conversation, are they telling them information about themselves?
Wow.
That could actually lead them to know exactly where their child is.
Do's and don'ts.
Sergeant Bonds, what are some of the do's and don'ts in your household?
Well, in my household, do's and don'ts are: don't share inappropriate pictures.
Yeah.
Don't post personal information.
Yeah.
And it's some of the same things that we encourage anyone, that files a complaint or whatever. Do not share anything that you think is inappropriate. Just report it to the police. Let us make that determination. If it's something that's local, we're going to investigate it. If we determine it's not local, we will get that information to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and they'll get it to the right ICAC partner to investigate it. So just do not share it and do report it.
ICAC, and that's the task force that you're a part of, correct?
Yes.
And that we have connected to your bureau. Now, you all do just more than the like you just said, the local stuff. If there's some issues, and a lot of times you may have some foreign partners out there who are actually preying on our young people, right? How do you all, from a international standpoint, handle that?
Well, we work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who serves as a filtering party for the internet service providers. So if the internet service provider determines that something's inappropriate, something such as child exploitation or soliciting, and they get it, they'll look at it first to determine what area it's in or what jurisdiction, and then they'll give it to the appropriate ICAC task force, who on the state level will give it to whatever jurisdiction needs to investigate it.
So I'm sorry, ICAC is a part, and you are listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. ICAC, our local, is made up of what, just our local people, or is it a regional piece?
Well, we're part of the Tennessee ICAC Task Force group.
Okay.
I believe in Tennessee we have close to 50 different partners. Memphis Police Department ICAC Task Force, we handle anything in Shelby County.
Yeah.
And we also partner, like say, with the FBI, and we investigate crimes together.
Okay, so what are some of the do's and don'ts for video chatting?
It's the same. It's along the same lines. Make sure you don't share personal information. Yeah. Make sure that when you are video chatting, you're aware that you are being filmed. So you want to make sure that things are appropriate, that you have on. There's no opportunity for any personal information to be displayed during the video chat. And, you just want to make sure you're safe with whatever you're doing.
Are there monitoring systems in place for Facebook chat, Apple chat, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Those particular companies, they employ people within their own company to monitor those sites. So when people say something about the Facebook police or the internet police, that's real out there. Those companies, they pay big dollar. They hire thousands of employees to monitor whatever is uploaded to their server because they're responsible for it. So they have employees that sit down and they review complaints. So if you report something that you saw on the internet that's inappropriate, that company will look at that particular complaint and they'll determine if it's inappropriate or if it's criminal, and they'll report it to whoever needs to investigate it.
What would be behavior, gestures, patterns to look for from the outside as parents?
One of the things I think as a parent, you just kind of monitor your child and see how much time they're spending on social media. When you do check their phone, look at some of their settings and see if they're deleting information, if their browser history is set to delete. That's one sign that you might need to look and see what's going on because they're trying to keep something from you. And you do understand with phones, you can set your browsers to where it'll delete as soon as they come away from their site. So as a parent, you'll look.
I didn't know that.
You'll look and you'll be looking at it and you're thinking my child isn't looking at the internet.
Anything.
You think I got a good child. They don't get on the internet. No, they probably had their browser set to delete so that they know that parents are going to check.
Can they set their text messages to delete?
Absolutely.
What?
There are apps out here that can hide text messages and delete text messages as soon as you send them.
You got to be kidding me. And I've been around a long time. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I've been around a while. But now to tell me, this is new information to me. Text that can be automatically, almost like the Snapchat deal that we think that's gone. But it's out there in cyber world somewhere, right? Those pictures are out there in cyber world, right?
It is new. It's kind of frightening.
Well, it is. There's different voice apps where you can set up fake numbers to call people, and it's actually a bogus number. A lot of people use Google numbers.
Yeah.
There are tons of ways to make yourself appear to be someone else or that you're not.
Do you see a lot of cases like that where people are spoofing their number to maybe bother someone?
Well, we see a variety of cases, so I don't want to just point out one particular case.
Well, I think this whole conversation has been about the support we have. Now, we've got the law enforcement support, but without the parental support, right? Law enforcement, what they do is going to be almost looking for four-leaf clovers if I don't have my parents helping us with the monitoring piece, because I can see firsthand what my son and my daughter is doing by looking at the phone. And you said it, Bonds, yourself. You spot check the phone. That's the best monitoring piece, right? Spot check the phone, spot check the laptop or the desktop at home, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
One of the main things we do want to encourage, if you are a part of any particular group and you need some information, contact our office. We have qualified investigators who can give you information. We don't mind coming out talking to groups to educate people. One of the best tools and best defenses is education.
Yeah.
If we know, then we can defeat it.
Wow. Major Adams.
Yes, sir.
You have a wonderfully large bureau, but give me a number that if we've got people out there that have got issues that they can call, and especially with respect to this space that you work in, sex crimes and child abuse especially, with also the ACAC piece, is there a number of people can call?
Yeah, they could reach us at 901-636-3330.
Repeat that again because I'm kind of hard of hearing. I want to make sure people heard you.
It's 901-636-3330.
Wow.
Our normal hours are 8 to 4. However, we do have an answering service after 4 o'clock. So if you have any kind of questions or concerns, you can reach us. It's 24 hours.
Wow. We appreciate you all coming by. Leah and I are sitting here and explaining to our listeners exactly how do we get to this space where we can help ourselves help our children, right?
Right.
And our young people. And that's what I think it's all about. And Leah, on behalf of Leah, myself, Best in Blue, Major Adams, Sergeant Bonds, you guys got to come back. Because we want to know next time. We want to talk about
more.
More. Because you guys got a lot of stuff out there, right?
There's more.
Wow, there's more. Oh, gosh. But you all are working it. We really appreciate what you do here, okay?
Thank you.
You're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue. We're getting funky, y'all.
And we have to thank Dick Durbin for being strong enough to actually come out of the Oval Office and say, hey, by the way.
Because he didn't have to say it, did he?
He didn't have to say it,
and I appreciate it.
Because I tell people all the time, just because you skin folk don't mean you kin folk.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Just because you skin folk, you ain't got to be kin folk.
It's Funky Politics on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN, Best in Blue.
We had a show here today. Major Adams, and Sergeant Bonds, when you talk about keeping our children and our young people safe with regard to the internet, they laid it down. I had no clue.
I had no clue.
That there's an actual Facebook police out there. We think that once we delete stuff, it's gone.
It's still there.
But Roman, there's a cyber world out here, folks, that you've never seen before. And our Memphis Police Department is working in conjunction with ICAP, which is the Internet Child Advocacy, Internet Child Safety Task Force, right? And they're working to try to do what? Trying to keep those kids safe, those young people safe. You can't just. We want to make sure we encourage our parents to monitor, right?
Yes.
Monitor.
And to set some sort of boundaries and rules when it comes to these devices and phones.
That's what Major said. She said, look, she did it for her son. She made sure she set boundaries and said, look, you're not going to be on the internet all day long. Sergeant Bond said, in terms of how he does a check, how he keeps up with his daughter's phone, he does a spot check. He picks up the phone. Parents, you heard that. Let's pick up these phones out there, right?
And then there's monitoring apps where you can mirror your child's phone. You can be in the other room.
Wow.
And see everything going on their phone. I mean, if I were a parent, I think I would need to know this.
There's plenty of information out there on this and so many more topics that you will catch right here on Best in Blue. So make sure you check out Best in Blue on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn app, or your favorite podcast provider. So on behalf of myself, DC, and Leah Romer,
check us out next time.
That's right here on Best in Blue.
Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.